What's gross? This one's gross. That's what's gross. Ew. What do you mean ew?
Sticker. It's good.
I made it to a heart.
Yep.
You pretty
Wiggle
much
your
have
fingers.
to get,
Yeah, like this. Look it.
you have to get pretty far up in there.
Just go like.
Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. Today's Farmstead Financial Friday video is a fun one. You know, the last two were kind of more serious on where some of our money goes on our farm. In this video, I thought that I would share to you extra ways that we find to earn income on our homestead without it costing us extra time or money or anything like that. So these are just some simple things that we do on our homestead that just help supplement our cost, is what we consider it as. And so I thought I'd share that today. So I have some of the items actually here with me to show you. And yeah, so let's go ahead and dive right in. Reminder for you as well, we are located in Southern Ontario. So when I tell you what we sell certain items for, just remember where I'm at. So this is what common pricing is in our area. I do pay close attention to all of that because I do think I want to stay, you know, fair with everyone else. I don't want to be so low where I undercut people because it's not fair, because we're just doing it to help supplement our feed bills for our animals and such like that. So just keep that little disclaimer in mind. Southern Ontario is where we are. Okay, so the first thing that we have done, I haven't done it in a little while. My husband actually just said to me recently that I should get some going. So one thing that I do that you don't have to do you can do if you don't have a homestead. So one thing that I like to do is I like to propagate houseplants. I love houseplants. So we have so many of these like little trinket jars, these little test tubes all throughout our house, like everywhere. And every time I have a plant that I really like, I just clip it and I just stick it in and it like propagates, right? So like look at all those roots. So what I do is I'll take these, actually at this phase right now where they're like really strong with roots, and I'll put them into little pots of soil, and then I'll place them on my local Facebook marketplace for sale. So these are house plants that I propagate. So you don't need to have a full homestead to do it. You can just have one house plant that's really nice and do it. I think personally the pothos, all the different varieties of pothos, but they're the easiest ones to propagate in my opinion for a house plant. And most people have pothos as an easy-going house plant to begin with. So yeah, and then you got like your ivy type ones and stuff. And I do it for some of my rare house plants too, like some of my, you know, one-of-a-kind finds. But you can do it with any of them. Any houseplants essentially. There's lots of videos you can look up on YouTube on how to propagate houseplants. It's really straightforward. Maybe I'll share a quick little YouTube short on it, but it's a fun way to earn extra money. You're not going to get rich from it in my opinion, but it does bring in a little extra cash, right? So that's kind of what we're looking for. The next one, sticking with the plants specifically, this one I'm going to show you is not currently mine, but something that we have done for years now on our homestead. Is plants. So when I am seeding my vegetable garden, when I get all those seeds going, like I currently have lots of little things started in little pots. So I like these ones personally. You get them on Amazon, really inexpensive. Or you can reuse. So I will save this one I bought from a local nursery. I will save this pot to use. And when I'm starting my own seeds, I'll go ahead and start a whole bunch of extra ones, and then I'll just post them once again for sale on my local marketplace or on our Instagram. We have a lot of local homesteaders that follow us, so that has been a really good way actually for me to sell plant starts, like outdoor, like vegetable ones. So that's something too that you can do that doesn't really cost a whole lot of extra. If you already have a seed packet and you're starting yourself 10 pepper plants, just do 5 extra ones, sell them for $1, $2. That seems to be what the average is in our area. So it's a good extra way as well that won't cost you anything extra per se. So with that being said, I highly recommend you keep your old pots. So if you buy pots, like start plants from nurseries and such like that, I always recommend saving them. Yeah, they're not, you know, the sturdiest, the prettiest, but you know what? If you're just gonna turn around and sell them, it's great for that. So save them. The next one that we do, we actually used to do specifically, we made it a point to plant for this reason. And that's to sell your bumper crop. So we actually used to, on our homestead at our old one, we used to do a CSA box. So a community supported agriculture farm share is essentially what it is. And so our customers would prepay for their vegetables in the springtime, or like over the winter springtime, and then they would be guaranteed a box of produce every single week for our entire season that we can grow vegetables. And so you would get whatever is in season in your box. So it's a mixture. That was something that we did. We actually sold out of it when we did it, and it was a neat experience to do. But I do find that the CSAs are a little bit more work personally. So that was something that didn't align with me, and I didn't like trying to arrange pickup days for so many people to show up to the farm to be able to pick up their boxes. But it is a good money maker for your farm. So when we did it, essentially, when we did the math, it covered all of our costs to grow our food that we grow for our family, and we grow like a year's worth of food at a time. So it is a good money maker if you have the time to do it and the space to do it. I do recommend it. It is a good one. Or you can do what we have currently transitioned into doing since doing the big one, is when we have a bumper crop. So I already cut this up because I'm saving this for jam, so I don't have any stalks to show you, but rhubarb. Our rhubarb plants are thriving. So you can sell a bundle of rhubarb in an area for about $5, and that's like, I'll say 8 to 10 stalks, depending on, you know, the thickness of the stalk. So about $5 a bundle is what the average is here. So like rhubarb is a good one. We've done tons of times. The other one that we do a lot of is asparagus. So we actually sold a lot of asparagus last year. At our old homestead, our asparagus plants were thriving. It was amazing. We couldn't keep up with it, actually. It was amazing. So we had more than enough for our family of 5. We had canned a bunch as well, and then we still had some left over, so we actually sold a bunch of bundles last year. We sold like maybe 5 or 6 pounds a week, which is really exciting. It's a good extra money because, like, once again, asparagus, I think we were selling them for $6 a pound. So it's a good little extra, you know, pocket cash for our farm per se. And the asparagus is already planted. It's a perennial, so it's gonna keep coming back. So this year we won't be able to do that because this year we're starting fresh on our homestead, our new one. So unfortunately our asparagus has to wait a couple years before we can do that. This is actually asparagus that a friend just gave us, but the rhubarb was ours. But yeah, so if you have extra produce on your farm, I highly recommend just posting it for sale and see what happens. People do it all the time in our area. We have done it to a lot of people that we know, so I haven't really had to have the need to go out farther to people that we don't know. So if you have extra tomatoes when you're harvesting, throw together a little basket like this, you know, offer them for a couple bucks. It'll reimburse your seed packet, you know what I mean? So things like that are a good way to, you know, extra cash. The next thing is a very common one with homesteaders: eggs. Eggs is such a common one, and for good reason. So we have been selling our eggs for years now, actually. That was the very first thing we ever sold from our homestead, and it's to people we know. It's just to neighbors and, you know, stuff like that, and like friends of a friend, stuff like that. So we sell our extra eggs. So we make sure we have enough for our family of 5 because that's what's important to us, and then we gift some eggs as well to my in-laws and stuff like that. So what we have left is what we sell. So in my husband's job, he works in an office, and he actually has a gentleman that buys 4 dozen every week because we always have those extra. So it's really nice because what he pays, so we sell them for $6 a dozen. So his 4 dozen eggs a week actually pays for a full bag of feed for us. So that's 4 bags of feed a month that we can purchase just by selling them to him. And our chickens don't even go through 4 bags of feed a month. So it's a really good little, you know, supplement to help even out your cost with chickens. We do the same thing with our duck eggs. We don't get a lot now that we only have 1 duck. Obviously, we get 1 egg a day. So we have been selling them. So I just sold, since we've moved, we've gotten about, I think 1, 2, 3, almost 4 dozen duck eggs, and I've sold 3 dozen of them already. So we sell our duck eggs for $9 a dozen in our area. It used to be 8, but it is now $9 a dozen this year. And so that's a good way too, because we personally don't really, we're not huge fans of the duck eggs, so they don't get used a whole lot. I like to bake with them, but we don't like to eat them per se. So if I have them, I'll use them. If somebody asks me if they can buy a dozen, I'll sell the dozen. I'm not gonna stress over it, to be honest, because we always have chicken eggs. So it's a good extra way to bring in just a little bit of income to balance out our expenses it costs to feed those animals specifically. Another thing you could do too, if you have male poultry with your female poultry, so if you have any roosters or drakes, or if you have a tom, you could also offer fertilized eggs, hatching eggs. So we have done that a couple times in the past, but most of the time when we have fertilized eggs, we like to incubate them ourselves. But we have sold them. So the price varies per area that you're in. I don't even know what the going rate is right now in my area for it. I'll put it on the screen. I'll look it up and put it on the screen, because we haven't bought any in a while and I haven't looked it up. But that's a good extra way. We've done that before with our duck eggs. We've sold fertilized duck eggs before. They sell for a premium price. Chicken eggs, because we have like a barnyard mix, they sell for more of a generic price. But still, if you have the rooster, you can, you know, take the gamble on it. Then I highly recommend selling them for hatching eggs instead of eating eggs, because you might get a couple extra dollars more per dozen per se. So that's another good little, you know, way to bring in some extra income. Now, there's a bunch of other things you could do to bring in money on your homestead that we don't do, just because we're not comfortable with it, but we know lots of people who do it. So you could offer, if you have a milking goat, or if you have a, you know, a cow and milk, you could offer a herd share, because here in Ontario you can't legally sell raw milk, but you can legally have a herd share contract drawn up where you and someone else can own the cow together and both, you know, receive the milk. So you could do something like that. That is very popular, I have noticed, especially with goats in our area. That is very popular. You could offer chicken butchering services. We see a lot of people that do that. I'm not that comfortable, because when we butcher our chickens, sometimes they're a little sloppy, so I'd prefer just not to offer that service. I don't think I'm a professional for that. But those are other services that you could offer on your homestead if you're comfortable with it, and it's stuff that you know how to do and you already are doing. And the one last one that I want to share is something that we personally don't do either, but we know lots of friends in the area that do it, and they seem to really enjoy it, and they say it brings in a good income. And that's to grow flowers. So if you've been around a while, you know I don't really grow a whole lot of flowers. I actually just bought some to have, like, to start growing, but like just a little bit, because I'm not a flower person. But we have some friends that grow a lot of tulips, you know, a lot of dahlias and all kinds of stuff like that. They just, you know, do some patches, and then they sell fresh cut flowers. So that's a fun way too. Like flowers, that's a great thing you could do. You know, if you just like, you know, you like to grow them, but you really don't want to cut them all or have the space in your house for them all, then you can go ahead and offer like little bouquets. There's our local farmers markets. There's lots of ladies that do that, and they're so beautiful, and they do them because they enjoy the flowers. Like, that is it. And then why not make some money off of it too, right? So anyway, friends, that's what we do to bring in a little bit of extra money on our homestead. And then those were some other ideas that you could do that we personally don't do. Another one that I will quickly mention, and the only reason we don't do it from our homestead, and I'll explain, if you have bees and you have an excess of honey, you could sell your honey, you could sell your beeswax, you could sell the pollen, anything like that related to the bees. We don't do that on our homestead, because by trade, my day job is I'm a beekeeper, so my business does that aspect. So we don't do it on our homestead, because we do it for our business. But that's a great one too that I've seen becoming more and more popular. People just sharing their abundance for a very reasonable fee, actually. So something else you could think of, I guess. But anyway, friends, that's what we do. I hope that those ideas kind of help you a little bit if you're trying to find, you know, just extra ways just to earn 10 extra dollars, as silly as that sounds, or like just to pay for your bag of feed. If you sell, like in my area, if you sell 4 dozen eggs, there's a bag of chicken feed right there for you. So things like that could really make a difference in your budget, and I think sometimes it gets overlooked because you think it's just, oh, it's only $6. But that $6 could add up if you really think about it. And on the homestead, you're trying to think of ways to, like, you know, penny pinching ones say, like make your dollar stretch farther. So these are some great ideas. If you have some great ideas that I did not mention, I would love to hear them. So please let me know down in the comments. I'm always, you know, up to listening to new ideas. And I also like to see what other people do, what they offer on their homesteads. I find it so fascinating. So anyway, friends, that is it. Please go ahead and like that video if you like it. If you like our content, or you're just nosy and you want to see what we're up to in Southern Ontario on our 1 acre homestead, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, friends. And until next time, bye.